Getting evidence ready. So by now, if you've already had advice, it means you're very clear about what evidence is going to be important for your application and how much evidence is required. It could come out one of two situations after an advice session. Your registered migration agent may say, great, it's time to get the ball rolling. I think you're in a good position to lodge now. Alternatively, they may say, look, now's not the right time, or your timings may not be right, meaning that you want to apply at a later stage. Either way, it's a really good idea to start preparing your evidence in advance. Now, the types of evidence that you need, I always like to focus on evidencing the 4 pillars of the relationship. So there's loads of other things that you're going to need, like identity documents and things like that. But if we focus on proving the genuine aspect of your relationship, that is that it's not a fake or a fraudulent relationship, that you are committed to each other, you're mutually exclusive. Immigration looks at the 4 pillars, and this is a really great way to get your head around this and start to follow this when you're preparing all of your evidence, even if you're planning a year in advance. So the financial aspects, that is, how do you pool your resources? How does the money operate in your relationship? It's not a question of are you rich or are you poor, it's how does the money work? Does the money work in your relationship in a way that has the decision maker believe that you have been together for the period you're claiming and that you intend to be together long term? A really easy way, not an essential way, so you don't need to run out and do this. A really easy way to evidence that is couples that have a joint bank account. If you have separate bank accounts, but there's some things that you share payments for, and you do that by back and forth transfers to each other, if one of you is paying for the expenses of another person, there's some examples of the financial aspects of the relationship. One of the other pillars is the social aspects. This is usually pretty easy for people. So this is, do your friends and family and the people that matter to you know about the relationship, or is it a secret? So generally when people are in a genuine relationship, they share the relationship with their friends and family. They tell them that they have a partner, they introduce them, they might introduce them on Skype, they will spend time with them socially among other people. Another consideration with the social aspects of the relationship is, do you plan your social life together, or do you go off your separate ways like housemates? So preferably it is that you plan your social life together. So that's things like your holidays, whether you go to the markets on a Saturday together, whether you have a favorite restaurant, if you go to the local RSL and you both have matching RSL cards to the same place. They're all just some examples of ways of proving the social aspects. Social media is always a great way to evidence. Being Facebook official isn't the only way to evidence your relationship, and you don't have to rush out and make yourself Facebook official. Your relationship is official even if it's not Facebook official. But if you do use social media and you've provided evidence of your life together on social media, so you may have posted a picture of the two of you out somewhere, then screenshots of that can be included. The third thing, the third pillar, is nature of your household. So that is, from day to day, how does the relationship work? What chores do you share? What shared responsibilities do you have in your household? Are there children that you're jointly responsible for? With the clients that we look after, I'll also look at as well, who else are you responsible for? So for example, in my relationship, we like to help my mum out from time to time, or we have family members that we like to go and visit together and help out if needed. So that's an example. If you have a parent or an elderly parent or a neighbor that the two of you go and help out and do things for, or if you have a pet that you share the responsibility for looking after, or if you have children, that's another way to talk about in your application and evidence the nature of your household. The other ways obviously are talking about who does the dishes, who does the cooking, who pays the bills, who does the driving. In some cases you may not have tangible paper evidence for things like that, but it's really important that you start to consider, well, how does our household work? Because you are going to need to talk about that in your statements. The fourth pillar is the nature of your commitment, and that is, are the two of you on the same page as far as the future is concerned? Do you draw a strong degree of emotional support from each other? Do you support each other? Do you have knowledge of each other's personal circumstances? And do you both see the relationship as long lasting? Now, very similar to nature of household, it can be difficult sometimes to think up of ways to evidence this aspect of the relationship. That's something your migration agent in your advice session will help you with. But for example, by way of example, some ways of proving that will be obviously the duration of your relationship. If you've been together for quite a long time and you can prove that with your evidence, how far back your relationship goes, that's one way, one of many ways. In addition to that, some couples that we've looked after have listed each other as beneficiaries to their superannuation. That's something you need to get independent advice on before doing. Some couples may have had wills drafted. Other couples may have evidence of shared responsibility for children, or having children together, or buying a house together, or buying a car together, or having a loan together. Something that suggests that they're going to be attached for a very long time. Might be getting a pet together, getting a dog. Other things will be talking about the difficult times that you've had in your relationship and your knowledge of each other's personal circumstances. There's shared values as well. So it might be that you both belong to the same faith and church is a really important part of your life. It might be that you're both vegan, or one of you has become vegan for the other person. It might be that you've supported your partner through difficult times in the past. So it might be that one of you is sick, or one of you lost someone that you care about and the other person helped you through that period. So they're just some examples of the different ways of evidencing the 4 pillars. It is really important that you flesh those out in your advice session, or you really start to think about how you would evidence your relationship over those 4 aspects from the beginning. Even if you are looking at lodging a prospective marriage visa, in comparison to the partner visa, the prospective marriage visa looks at your intention to live together as spouses. When you're proving your intention to live together, immigration may have regard for those 4 pillars. So it's important, even if you're lodging a prospective marriage visa, to start to flesh your evidence out across those 4. So I hope that helps.